Yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, ay ay dam, ay ay dai, yai dai yai dai dam, yai dai 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 yai, ay yai dai dam. Good morning, Boker Tov. Hey, muggy day already outside today, but it is supposed to be beautiful. Yesterday's weather was unbelievable, incredible, and just so nice to be outside. And today's another opportunity to get out there. And so, this before the spring started, or at the tail end of winter, beginning of spring, I decided that one of the projects or one of the things that I felt mandatory was to make sure that my grass didn't look like a patchwork quilt and that it would be seeded, etc. So we did that, and as I pulled up to the house today, I said, wow, there's something about the green color of this grass. We've all heard the expression, the grass is always seeming to be greener on the other side. When we get something new, something bigger, something better comes along, and often we get ourselves stuck in wanting the bigger, the newer, the better. We don't always realize that this, in fact, is a form of jealousy. And jealousy in Torah, as we just came from Shavuot and commandments, we know that jealousy is a form of sin. There is a fine, very fine line between jealousy and aspiration. The Torah teaches us that it's not often easy to admit our wrongdoings, and that it is important to do so for forgiveness, for healing, for hopefully peace in the world. In this week's Parsha, this week's Torah portion, Naso, jealousy, greed, and hatred is explained in great detail. In fact, it's a long-ish portion. There's a lot of details and repetition. The Baal Shem Tov, the great Hasidic Rebbe, once said, the world is full of wonders and miracles. But human beings take their little hands and cover their eyes and see nothing. I'll repeat it. The world is full of wonders and miracles, but human beings take their little hands and cover their eyes and see nothing. It's interesting, in all these thousands of years, nothing much has changed. The time of the Baal Shem Tov was already seeing that people cover their eyes. People don't realize what's there and what's out there and what's to be seen. That our world is still filled with jealousy and hatred, that people are still closed-minded and being controlled by wants and needs. We see it in our world. We see it in media. There are people that are great at one thing and not in the other, and vice versa. But as people, as humans, we should be able to look beyond that. And neither person should be jealous of the other. You're good at this and I'm good at that. I'm not good at this, but you're better at it. It's what makes us who we are. None of us are immune to it. We see it all the time. How come that person makes more money than me? How come that person That comes so easily to them. Look at them. They just walked up to this crowd of people. They don't know anybody there, and yet they felt comfortable enough to have a conversation. How come I can do this, but no one else seems to get it? We're not immune. It happens to all of us. Some of us are jealous. Some of us have people that are jealous of us. But whatever the circumstance is, physically, mentally, it's impossible to be the perfect star. But it is our obligation as Jews, as humans, to reach for them, to reach for the stars, so that we can be our best selves. There's so many pieces to this parsha, so many different pieces to this portion. And it's not just about jealousy and envy and greed. But there are many opinions on this, and you have yours and I have mine. But one of the things that strikes me most is the word kavod, or respect for others. Tzedakah, charity, mitzvot, doing good. All of this lies within this parsha. But most important is having a good heart. Batya ibn Bakora, very influential Jewish thinker from, I think, 11th century. Don't quote me on that, but I think 11th century. Wrote a book called Duties of the Heart. And the book is all about morals of Jewish life. Packed, acknowledging the fact that physical action of a mitzvah is important. Of course, we know this. Did you do any mitzvahs today? Mitzvot is the way of our people. But in fact, the physical action, obviously, you need to do the mitzvah. But more important than that is the intention behind it. Doing a mitzvah without reason behind it is not nearly as valuable as doing it with good intention and heart. I'm sure we can all agree. Do we do good deeds because we're commanded to, or because it makes us feel good? Did we check the box? Why do we do mitzvot? Why do we do good in the world? What is our intention to making the world better with less jealousy and greed and anger? The requirement for us as humans in this world that is so full of anti-Semitism, so full of hate, so full of greed and jealousy, teachings happening from time of Torah, still happening today. We are required to act, but we are not to act in the form of reaction. That we should set intention so that our intent will push us towards action. When we react to things, often come from a place of that anger, that hatred, and then we're no better than the other. The reality is that we need to do better as a people. And this parsha reminds us of that. That there is so much greatness, so many wonders, so many miracles, in the world. As Baal Shem Tov says, take our little hands off our covered eyes. Because there is greatness to be seen. We get stuck on all the negativity, and I don't blame you. I do it too. We all do it because look at the world in which we live. But perhaps we're able to take our little hands off our eyes to see the miracles, to see the goodness, to see the love and acceptance, to be part of action towards betterment, to be able to say, I didn't react to that, but rather my intention is to act on it. Yesterday I was checking out at ShopRite, and I asked the cashier if he's always this happy. A young kid, big smile on his face, sweet conversation. And so I said, are you always this happy? He said, since I was a little boy, everybody asked me that. And I said, well, clearly you're happy because we can see it. Other people are noticing it. And he said, sometimes I think, he was probably, I don't know, like early 20s, I would say. He said, sometimes I think that people can't be happy because they're waiting for happiness to fall in their lap. Like, I'm not going to be happy until XYZ. But he said, sometimes I think that maybe we should do it the opposite way. Sometimes we should just be happy or do our best to be happy, to put a smile on our face, and then it will become a habit. It won't be that we're waiting for something. If we're waiting for happiness, we could wait forever. But we missed out on living. Wisdom from Lane 4 at ShopRite Huntington. Let's stop waiting. Leave the jealousy, the greed, the anger, all of that behind. And put happiness in the forefront. Here's a piece of transparency for today before we go off into our day. Fake it till you make it. That's also fine. But as long as you're faking it with the intention, the right intention. Not, I'm so miserable, I'll just fake it, but you're still miserable. So yesterday, I took Ellis to, there was no school for Shavuot, and one of his friends had a couple of people over to swim in their pool. I live in a beautiful house. I have mostly all of the things I want. I mean, we could all want for more, but be satisfied with your lot. I've experienced great things in life, all of these things. And we pull up to this house, and I think to myself, damn, this house is so nice, this backyard is so all of the things. And I found myself in a place of jealousy. It only lasted a second, of course. I didn't carry it on and wallow in self-pity because my house is a quarter of the size or maybe even a sixth of the size. But it gets you nowhere. The jealousy, the greed, the anger, and I just left it there and sat there with these other moms and these adorable children and thought to myself, how lucky I am to be able to have friends who have things that we can share. Find your happiness today. Remind yourself that mitzvot, good deeds, come from intention, not because we want to check off a box to say we did it. Do something today that brings you joy and happiness. And leave something behind that drags you down. We are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 9:30. Have a great day, everybody. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 O Ravinu Chai.